A year ago, I got back into Yu-Gi-Oh! In my last year of university after a new OTS store opened up in Leeds. I made a great group of friends and enjoyed playing weekly. I soon got into the competitive side of the game I had never had access to as a kid, entering my first tournament with Invoked Mech Knights and from then on playing some form of Burning Abyss, with my current deck being an Orcus variant. As someone whose experience of Burning Abyss is as a rogue deck in the Link era, it's been interesting to see how the deck adapts to each format. From Dante's Cat to Hydralander BA, it seems like Dante can never die. One of its main tools was Fairy Tale Snow, being a powerful form of interruption that could be used multiple times, but most importantly, along with Hydralander, by banishing any duplicates that might have been milled, making sure its effect could resolve. The duo was perfect. That was, until Thunder Dragon decks saw what they could tap into. Shortly after, with Fairy Tale Snow being banned, Hydralander BA fell out of play, and had to be a more dedicated and time-consuming deck-building decision. Deck building and theory crafting is one of the most intriguing parts of Yu-Gi-Oh!, but with easy access to singles, it's not very challenging. I've been tempted to combine my love of YouTube and Yu-Gi-Oh! For a while. I drafted some discussion videos, but never really got round to doing anything, wondering what sort of content I would make if I ever went ahead with the channel. Then I saw Nimnim's Sealed Only series. Gage had managed to find a way to make entertaining content that combined the best of Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos into a series that applied the limitations and format of a RuneScape Iron Man challenge. You know that feeling you get when someone else comes up with something you wish you had? Yeah, that. I was excited at the prospect of the series, but was a bit bummed, so I went back to not making anything. But after catching up with the latest episode and still wanting more Sealed Only content, I decided to search Sealed Only Yu-Gi-Oh! Into YouTube on a whim. What I discovered was a few people taking inspiration from Gage and starting their own journey. So I sat down and tried to figure out how I could put my own spin on the series. So here it is, my Hydralander locked Sealed Only deck. After watching Nimnim's Sealed Only series and moving away from the locals that had got me back into the game and the friends I had made, I wanted to give his challenge a go, to encourage myself to get excited about finding the new locals in London to attend. And to start a deck building journey from scratch, no trading, no buying singles, and my only access to cards is with a budget of £30 per episode through sealed product, but with one exception: 3 copies of Orbital Hydralander, all with the aim of finding a locals to regularly attend and potentially taking the deck to further heights. So here are the rules. Number 1, we can only obtain cards through sealed product using our £30 budget per episode. 2, if we don't use up the whole of the budget, the remainder will be put aside and can be added onto a future episode's budget. Number 3, if we pull some good cards that we can't use or have no intention to, we can sell them in order to add additional funds to the bank. Number 4, we must run at least 1 copy of Orbital Hydralander in the main deck at all times. After all, we are locked into this. To start off our sealed only journey, we immediately deviate from the trend of 3 structure decks for the pure fact that we have our 3 Hydralander. Obviously, the benefit of using 3 of the same structure decks is that you have immediately a deck that works together, and with the release of the Spellcaster deck, Zombie Horde and Rocket, you obviously have very strong rogue strategies, and then obviously with Soundman Great, trend has been to make a deck that you can buy 3 of, and then with a few extra cards you have a competitively viable deck. That doesn't really make sense for us, because obviously we are locked in under Hydralander. I thought we'd start with somewhere that a lot of new players start. We don't really have an easy, immediate option, but obviously a lot of new players, they start off with starter decks. They have quite generic monsters, especially these newer ones. They have a lot of good reprints that have been competitive cards in the past, and just a lot of good staples. So we're starting off with starter deck Link Strike, and then to pair it, we also have structure deck Cyburst Link. So that is 2/3 of our budget. And I was trying to think of where I wanted to go, what else I wanted to open in the first week. And as you know, I play Burning Abyss, so it was really hard to let old habits die hard. So on top of that, we have 3 Premium Gold Pack Infinite Golds. There are the Burning Abyss cards, which obviously with Dante does a really good job at loading up our graveyard, especially as the fact that like both these decks that we started with have a lot of level 3 monsters. The set also has a load of good rank 4s, so hopefully we can pull something that will just give our deck a little bit of a head start, because I think at least for the first week or so we're just going to be reliant on stalling out until we can get to Hydralander and maybe finishing some games off. We'll really have to see how we can handle it. Let's start with the starter deck, Link Strike. So we have Link Slayer, Decode Talker. These are probably 2 of the best cards in here. We have Link Spiders, quite a generic Link 1. Draconet is seeing a lot of play with Ib and Galaxy Serpent. Yeah, like Beast King Barbaros used to be quite a good card. Cyber Dragon and Photon Thrasher are quite generic bodies on the field. Marauding Captain and Sangan have seen a lot of play throughout various formats. Yeah, I think it's just giving, like, we have a hand trap in Effect Veiler, Dark Hole. Yeah, just some like really good generic cards to get us started. So yeah, that's that first lot of cards to pick from. And then we have Cyberse Link. So for the second deck, we have Encode Talker, Trigate Wizard. Dotscape is a really good card. Backup Secretary is a free summon. Tragodia. You used to be able to tell how good of a player someone was by, not necessarily with Tragodia, but with Gauze, when Gauze was running rampant. So yeah, we might be able to catch a few people out with Tragodia. Card Trooper is a good way to get bodies in the grave for Hydralander. We have Mathematician Crane, 2 very good level 3s. Crane saw a lot of play in some budget Burning Abyss decks, so that's quite good. And then Glow Up Bulb's a very good card. Soul Charge, Rip to Soul Charge being banned. But yeah, we just have some, like, these are seeing a lot of play at the moment. So those are our 2 decks to start with. So on to the opening part of this video. I've never actually opened Premium Gold. I own a lot of the cards when I bought Burning Abyss, getting back into the game. So we have Mistaken Arrest. Libic, a Burning Abyss name. That's one of the good playable ones. Gagagar Cowboy, if we ever go to time. Junkaribo, a very shiny card. And Treacherous Trap Hole, which I think that sees a lot of play in Duel Links, but not really a whole lot of play in the TCG at the moment. But, you know, we have 1 Burning Abyss name. A little bit more Premium Gold. These did come in the post without a box, just to make posting everything easier. We have Mask Change 2. We have Farfa, another Burning Abyss name. We have Constellia Pleiadius. Oh god, that's such a shiny card. We have Tsukinomo Slash. And Beatrice, the Lady of the Eternal. Such a good card. I love Beatrice. So, you know, we've got a few BA names. Not Dante yet. Hopefully in this last pack we can pull Dante, or, you know, anything else that's fairly generic and helps with our intended strategy. Okay, so we have Draco Face Off, Kagna, Abyss Dweller. Now, Abyss Dweller is a really good card for the format at the moment, so maybe we'll be making some Abyss Dweller and passing. And then number 77, the Seven Sins, and a Fire Hand. So I think these are the cards that we might be able to get some use out of at the moment. So we have Libic, Kagna, Farfa. Obviously, these three, we probably need two of these to get any actual use. I mean, Farfa's just a decent card. Maybe we'll be summoning some Mathematician, sending Farfa to banish a monster on our opponent's field, or I don't really know. It's a good start. These two see play. We then have Abyss Dweller for our generic rank 4. Beatrice won't really be seeing any play until we get a Dante. We might be able to, maybe if we have some level 6s, we could make Beatrice and then use Beatrice to send Farfa from deck. And then Mistaken Arrest, Gaga Cowboy, and Treacherous Trap Hole. So yeah, those are the cards we have. I think I'm gonna take these away, try and build a deck list, and we'll see what we can make out of this. So obviously, to start with, we have 3 copies of Orbital Hydralander. This is the main card of the deck. This is the main thing we really have to close out games. This is our end goal. Unfortunately, we don't really have a whole lot of ways to guarantee this or get to this, which is frustrating, but hopefully it can put in some work. I guess the current aim of the deck will be to just stall as much as we can until we have 5 monsters in grave and a Hydralander in hand. With that in mind, we have Tragodia, a card that hasn't seen play for a while, but once you take damage, it lets you put a body on board. Depending on how many cards you have in your hand, it can become quite beefy, and it has a decent removal effect. I don't know how well it's going to do, but we don't have a whole lot to put in the deck, so we might as well have some stuff that will just help us stall out and get to our Hydralander. We have Link Slayer. It's a free body on board. It's got decent attack, and it has a decent back row removal effect. With that, we also have Cyber Dragon, a free monster on board. Cyber Dragon's been doing what it's been doing for a long time. Next up, we have Rom Clouder, Cyburst Wizard, and Balancer Lord. These 3 are all level 4. They were some of the most decent, I guess you could say, level 4s that we had on offer. And then on top of that, we have some free special summons that are level 4s, Photon Thrasher and Evil Swarm Mandragora. And then our last level 4 is Firehand. Obviously this would be a lot better if we had some more Fire Hands and some more Ice Hands, but it's what we have. Next up, we have level 3s. Crane and Marauding Captain are just good ways of getting extra bodies on field. I feel like the only thing we really have going for us is that quite a lot of our cards allow us to accrue multiple bodies on field. I guess we can go up into Decode Talker if that's the case, but we'll see how it goes. We have Curry Bandit, level 3 for Crane. It also lets us get some cards in grave, and it also gives us the ability to add a spell or trap to hand. Backup Secretary is at level 3, so we can revive it off of Crane. We do play a fair few Cyburst monsters, so it's a free special summon if we control a Cyburst. Sangan, good effect, what more can you say? Card Trooper lets us mill to grave. It's a level 3. It can be a 1900 beater on our turn, so not the worst. For the last level 3s, we have our 2 Burning Abyss monsters. We have Libic, which can special summon a fiend from the hand, and Farfa, which is some pretty good removal. I decided to put these in because we play a lot of level 3 fiends, so Libic has more than just Farfa as its target. So if we have a way of discarding it, that's a free body on board. Set it, get it run over. Farfa, even if we just set it or attack into something, that's removal for the turn. Our 1 level 2 is Raiko, amazing removal. It lets us mill, so decent. We have Veiler as our only hand trap, which is just a good card. We have Battle Fader. We're stalling here. We're stalling to try and get to Hydralander, so a way to end the battle phase is really good. Likewise, Swift Scarecrow for the same reasoning. And then we have Just a Confit, Dotscaper, and Glow Up Bulb. That is all our monsters. Next up for our spell lineup, we have Mind Control, amazing card, seeing play at the moment. Dark Hole, it's obviously not seeing a whole lot of play at the moment because a lot of monsters out there have Destruction Protection, but it's all we've got and it's a board wipe, so hopefully it will do something. Book of Moon, we have the Spell and Trap Removal, MST, and Cosmic Cyclone. We have our only draw card, Pot of Duality. Moon Mirror Shield just turns one of our shitty monsters into a good monster, kinda. And then finally, Forbidden Lance. That's it for our spell lineup. We have Bottomless Trap Hole, Compulsory Evacuation Device, and Torrential Tribute as our sort of counters to what our opponent are doing. Bottomless and Torrential on summon can either clear the board or get rid of a problem monster, and then Compulsory Evacuation is just actually really good at the moment because there's so much destruction protection. Being able to just spin back a card that otherwise you wouldn't have an out to is really good. We have Fiendish Chain. It's not amazing right now because it's really slow, but it's what we have. For battle traps, we have Destroying Mirror Force, being able to shuffle away our opponent's whole board and have them top decking or with very little advantage while we're stalling out for Hydralander could be very good. We have Treacherous Trap Hole as our last one. Yeah, that's our main deck. Moving on to the extra deck, we have our rank 4s, Abyss Dweller and Cowboy. The extra deck's really all we've got. These two we can summon, so it's decent, but, you know, I don't think them on their own are going to do a whole lot. We have Constella, Pleiadius, and Beatrice. Beatrice is a very good card, but we have no way to summon it. Same with Pleiadius. Then we have Decode Talker. This is probably one of the best monsters in our extra deck at the moment, and probably one of the ones that we can use the most. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but, you know, it's decent. Trigate Wizard. I think at the end of the day, this is going to be a 2200 beta. I don't think we're going to get a whole lot of usage out of its effects, but if that's all, I guess. I don't really see ourselves being able to summon these a whole lot. I guess Encode Talker we could, but I don't really see, we don't have enough Cyburst to really make use of any of these. Finally, for our side deck, we have a few traps. We have Call of the Haunted, Dimensional Barrier, Ring of Destruction, and Mirror Force. Maybe they'll come in handy. I think Mirror Force against a deck that it does well against, if we're made to go first, could go really well, but we'll just have to see. We then have Mistaken Arrest. Obviously not as good as Shared Ride because it doesn't gain us anything. Being able to stop some decks from searching could be kind of good. And then as a one-of, Marshmallow, some decks might not have an out to a little Marshmallow Boy, and in time it could be all and end all. So yeah, that's the deck for the moment. 40 in the main, however many in the side and the extra, but that's what we're going to be heading into locals with. So this episode's locals was a bit of a mess for me. I'd managed to miss my bus, meaning I arrived after the tournament had started, gaining me a round 1 loss. I forgot my tripod and my game mat, and on top of that, I was having technical difficulties with my camera, which made games even harder to record, because my SD card kept not being able to read and write intermittently. Our first game was up against a Noble Knight deck, made mostly from one of the Noble Knights of the Round Table box sets. It was a lot of setting and passing from both of us for quite a while. We managed to take this match 2-0 by stalling out until we could make Decode Talker and had enough monsters engraved for Hydralander. Our second match was up against Valkyries. Our opponent managed to swiftly OTK us the first game, but after siding in some battle traps from our side deck, we managed to clear his board whenever he set it up and out-resource him until we could make some link plays and get to Hydralander, giving us the win. We ended up coming 6th out of 12 duelists, so if we'd played that first game we might have done better. There wasn't really any competitive decks at this locals. Subterra came first and was really the only one. Prize support was just a box of Dual Devastator for first place, which would have been pretty great if we'd managed to get it, but we came away with nothing. Despite the technical difficulties at locals, I think this has been a good start to the series. Episode 1 and 2 I filmed a while back in October, but once they are out, we'll be caught up, so let me know what you think of the series and any suggestions you have of where we can take this deck. I'll see you in the next episode.